On Britain's streets, a battle is raging. Over 11 million of us rent.
I'm freaking out. I'm terrified.
But thousands fall victim to rogue landlords.
It's just the worst property I've seen.
2 million of us are private landlords.
He's owed almost £10,000 in rent.
But many face financial ruin at the hands of bad tenants.
Supposed to be out by yesterday.
Well, we're still here.
Get your hands off.
Don't push.
I had a nervous breakdown for the first time ever in my life.
I'm not going back on the street, no way.
In this series, we're on the front line with the enforcement officers who crack down on rogue landlords.
There's a lot of scams going on.
This is gross exploitation. It just can't continue.
And the experts, whose job it is to evict bad tenants.
This kind of stump boils my blood.
It can be a little bit scary at times.
Whoa.
Hey!
Go!
We're called a police! We're called a police!
After a decade without rent,
Wow.
a landlord tackles her tenant.
Are you going to honour the rent for the last 10 years?
Housing officers uncover a terrifying house share.
I don't want to be the house catching on fire when I'm asleep.
There's so many ways you could be killed in this property.
And when a young mum faces eviction,
We have to take possession of the property today.
Need to leave from now, please.
I've got children now.
she tests bailiff's patience.
You're taking the dog, aren't you?
Huh?
You're taking the dog.
Not straight away, no.
A decade ago, landlord Nishat Hussain and her husband saw the chance to make some money and help out someone in need. Instead, they were left with an astronomical debt.
He owes us 10 years' worth of rent. So, just a little over 89,000 for the last 10 years. That's a substantial amount.
The non-paying tenant, Mr. Saunders, was the previous owner of the three-bed home. He'd hit financial problems and sold it to Nishat on the condition he could continue living there and would pay her rent.
We were looking for a property to purchase, and at the same time we were helping somebody else. We had done this before. It was a win-win situation for both parties.
But what seemed like a mutually beneficial arrangement turned sour after just a year. Rent dried up and the tenant's extraordinary decade of non-payment began.
We tried on numerous occasions to get hold of him. We sent him letters, etc., but no response. And I took my eye off this one.
Knowing the tenant had been ill, Nishat initially decided to cut him some slack.
He had cash flow problems. We were made aware of his health issues, and nobody wants to exasperate any of that.
Nishat's patience ran out, and a month ago her tenant was served with an eviction notice. He should have left yesterday, so she's gone to check whether he's still there.
Walk up to the house.
She hasn't seen her non-paying tenant since buying his house 11 years ago.
He appeared very down to earth and very sincere. A decent guy, in our opinion. Mr. Saunders?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Hussain.
Oh, right.
Hi.
Well.
I see you still here.
Yeah, well, man, I mean, you've seen my letters, have you?
What letters? We
Well,
should have vacated the property by yesterday.
Don't you realise the position you put me in?
You didn't pay your rent. Why did you stop paying the rent?
Because of your address, I wrote 3 letters on separate occasions, okay, with
But-
guaranteed post delivery, and they were not collected or you know, and signed for.
We've been there for the last 23 years. So I can't accept that excuse.
Excuse. I mean,
but you stopped paying the rent.
I had no telephone number.
Oh, yes, you did, because the last letter had
I know,
the mobile number on.
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry, but that was on my mobile. It was stolen.
No, but the letter had the mobile number. And that mobile number hasn't changed.
It's really, really peculiar.
Anyway.
I'm just not very happy with the way that you've
well, the point is, there's no question about managing. You haven't paid your rent. 10 years without rent being paid. He wasn't apologetic. He was definitely not embarrassed. He turned it all round to blame me.
You've never sent me any invoices?
No. I mean, you still have to pay the rent. You're living here. You're our tenant. You still had to pay the rent.
Yeah, but
you don't send invoices.
But I have to say, I am disappointed that
I've not received. No, it doesn't matter whether you received it or not, or etc., whatever. You needed to have vacated the property yesterday or paid up all the outstanding rent. Are you going to honour the rent for the last 10 years? That's how long it has been that you haven't paid your rent.
That's what I was discussing with solicitor.
I honestly did feel sorry for him. He was in denial. I believe he thought that nothing's happened for the last so many good years. Why should anything happen now? You have a very good day, Mr. Saunders, and we'll speak to you soon.
After your presence.
Okay.
I'm just absolutely astonished at the way in which I've been managed. That's the word, managed.
But you're an intelligent man, Mr. Saunders.
I'm an intelligent person.
Right, so you don't need to be managed.
I'm not going to say what. I'm going to consult my solicitor, okay? And then we'll be in touch with you.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm very, very, very happy.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, goodbye.
Bye-bye. He doesn't want to pay. He doesn't want to pay.
For now, Mr. Saunders appears to be staying put. Nishat's next step will be to start eviction proceedings and potentially calling in the bailiffs. Council employees are always on the lookout for illegal or dangerous rented houses of multiple occupancy, known as HMOs. In Harrow, Enforcement Officer Andrew Sedman has got wind of a man who has apparently packed his home full of tenants, despite also still living there himself.
Property was discovered by our pest team when they did some bedbug treatment there. Different situation with this unlicensed HMO is the landlord lives in the property, but at the end of the day there are laws and we do have to enforce the law.
Andrew is en route to inspect what is officially a one-bed flat.
This of course is not safe, not in such a small space, so it's really, really worrying.
And as well as being overcrowded, reports suggest the flat is in a serious state of disrepair. Andrew is meeting fellow enforcement officer Micaiah Angus to assess the property.
I spoke to the living landlord, said he's not going to be there, he can't get time off work, but he's instructed his tenants to let us in. Lovely busted up window there. It's a double glazed unit that they probably found in a skip somewhere. Hello sir, how are you?
Yeah.
You all right?
Right, yeah.
Good.
Come in.
Excellent. Thank you. First of all, we've got a bit of a leak going on up here. We've got some cracks going on in the ceiling here.
It soon becomes clear this is no ordinary flat share.
Hello sir, how are you?
Yeah.
Sorry to bother you.
Yes.
The lounge alone is home to 2 men, and it's in far from ideal condition to cope with the winter weather.
You've got, obviously, a replacement window held in by tape. Not good.
Yeah. How much do you pay, sir?
£300.
A month or a week?
A month.
The tenant reveals that the landlord is sharing his 1-bed home with 6 other men.
Can we come up into the loft, please, sir?
Yeah.
To maximise space, the attic has been converted into a living area without planning permission.
That's another, there's a bed in there. Someone sleeps in there. He's not in there at the moment, no.
One of the 2 men who call this cramped loft space home is Mark. He moved in with the landlord 2 years ago to save money while he studies to become a personal trainer.
I've told him, look, this yard, it's not really livable. You need to sort this out, man.
Look, the balustrade things that he's connected,
Yeah.
it's held together by brown tape.
When he gets that idea, he will just go ahead with that.
Yeah.
Look, there's not enough space for a start, yeah? He's tried to do all this himself, and I told him, you need to do it professionally. You get me? You can't just try and start building something and not really have the know-how how to do it, you know what I mean?
We had people sleeping between the eaves in the loft. There was no fire separation. It was just disastrous.
I told him it's not a good idea putting a toilet up here. There's not a basin.
There's a hole in the floor there.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen it any worse than this hazard-wise.
I've never been in a place where you've had so much overload of plug sockets and like it switching out every minute. Sometimes I'll be sitting here, someone puts on the kettle and then the switch just goes off and then we're in darkness.
There's so many ways you could be killed in this property.
It's not really livable.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be no resolve. If I have to move out, I have to move out, you know what I mean? Because I've been there like actually too long.
The lack of upkeep is evident in the cramped communal kitchen.
Wow. So that's the waste, that grey pipe is the waste to the washing machine. And I'm assuming that once this bin is full, they probably empty it down the sink. No, it seems that the sink waste also goes into this bin too.
The DIY plumbing seems to be having some unwanted effects.
Where you're standing, them floorboards are...
Oh, they're soggy.
Yes, they're not great.
It's really bad.
The electrics are exposed.
Micaiah is concerned that vital safety precautions are also being ignored.
This landlord has fire exit signs all over the place, but there's no smoke detection in here. The one that was here has been removed.
They didn't even have a basic smoke alarm. A fire in that situation, they would have had no chance at all. It was just waiting to go up.
These are not fire doors, but I can get my fingers through there. Once there's a gap, smoke will get through. And it's locked. If you lose the key and you're in that room, you're dead.
The tenants reveal that the overcrowding and the lack of professional maintenance are the result of the landlord being in serious financial trouble himself.
I don't even think he's going to sort this out, bro, to say the truth, honestly.
Yeah.
He can survive 1 month. You are a good friend with him. Me, I am very good friend with him. He's not listening to us.
The wiring, man. I don't want to be the house catching on fire when I'm asleep. Are you crazy?
Electrician actually is the electricians. It's not cheap, man.
This could burn down tomorrow.
The landlord tell me something. Please, John, don't leave me and help me because is disaster. If him stay alone, he can survive. No, because all the salary of him is going just for a mortgage. To be honest, he eat from him and from me.
Wow.
What we buy as a food, he eat from us.
Nah, John, we need to try and get out of it ASAP because he's going to lose the place, bro. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now.
Whether they want to or not, all 7 residents, including the landlord, may soon be looking for alternative accommodation.
The reality is, it is a worst-case scenario because it's so dangerous in here. I mean, we can't let it go on like this. We need to shut this down. Effectively, I'm shutting the property down and telling them to leave. At the end of the day, it's lives, and those lives really matter. So I had to get something done.
Andrew makes an urgent call to the landlord.
Andrew Sedman here. I've got some bad news for you. Your property, I've rated it. The rating is so severe that I've actually had to serve what's known as an emergency prohibition notice on you, which means you all have to vacate the property until it's fixed up. At the end of the day, if you stay in here another night, you could die in a fire. That's how serious it is. The landlord, understandably, did not react too well to this. As a professional, so I have to disagree, it is really bad. The council are just not having it anymore, sir. See what I mean? It's not nice doing this at all. I don't take pride in getting people thrown out of a house. I'm taking pride in saving someone's life.
Since the prohibition notice, Mark has decided to leave. The landlord, however, is still living in the flat with a number of his tenants. The council are considering further action against him, which could include fines and criminal prosecution. It's 8 a.m. and landlord Dennis Yao is en route to evict his tenant from his 3-bed semi. Since moving in 4 months ago, she's failed to transfer her deposit and hasn't paid any rent, meaning Dennis and his wife are nearly £4,000 down.
It's really bad because we have 2 kids, so we have finance pressure as well. I basically pay 2 house mortgages every single month. I'm on stress. My wife is in stress as well. It is just too damaging.
Their non-paying tenant is Gemma Patey, a mother of 3.
She looks like a nice person with some kids, so quite friendly, and then she says she wants to move in, and then we say, okay, just pay the deposit. She sent us a message and say, oh, I have put a deposit in the bank account, and with a picture as well.
Having received what appeared to be proof that the deposit had been paid, Dennis's wife agreed to hand over the keys. However, the money never arrived and the screenshot had apparently been doctored.
She was lying to us. She was just playing a trick with my wife. So yeah, I feel really depressed. It damaged my relationship with my wife as well, because every time we talk about it, we go to argument, we, human nature, try to point fingers to each other. I hope she moves out. It's that simple.
Morning, Dennis.
Hello, Paul. Morning.
Meeting him at the property is eviction specialist Paul Champliner from Landlord Action, who is helping them with the case. The High Court sheriffs are due any minute.
Literally, in about 5–10 minutes' time, we're going to be carrying out the eviction on the High Court eviction. She hasn't paid any rent since she's been in the property, has she?
No, so no deposit, no rent.
This was quite a rare case in the sense that this tenant didn't pay a penny, not even the deposit. So I knew that I was dealing with someone that was clearly playing the system and was taking liberties.
Sometimes even she would text me and say, oh, there's some problem on the X, Y, and Z. I even come to fix it.
Yeah, as a responsible
landlord. Yeah, exactly. And we just try to be responsible, and she's still not paying anything to us.
Terrible.
Just pretend nothing happened.
Do we know if she's working at all or anything?
Yeah, she's working in Milton Keynes.
She is working? Okay. The house is just there, is it?
Yeah.
Overseeing the eviction is High Court Sheriff Scott Hines.
Scott?
Morning.
Morning, this is Dennis, our landlord.
Nice to meet you.
Where's the entrance? Round here, isn't it?
Yeah, the front door is there.
Okay. Hello there.
Hi. So my name's Scott. I'm an enforcement agent. Okay. Got a High Court writ of possession. Obviously, this tells me that you have to leave this morning.
Right, okay.
You are aware of the process, what's been going on?
No.
Must have received
Can you
mail.
close that room door?
If I can come in and speak to you.
I've got children there.
You are leaving this morning. You need to get packed and you need to leave for me now, please.
Right, okay. And I've had no paperwork whatsoever.
We sent you a letter and there's been a court order. We've been to court. You haven't paid me rent since you've been there. So you know that. We have to take possession of the property today.
Yeah. You've literally got half an hour or so, madam. That's all you've got.
Half hour?
Yeah.
You haven't paid any rent while you've been here, have you?
So this is always going to happen.
He's owed over £4,000 in rent. So I don't know how you're going to pay it. Just walked off. Dennis, has she got your number?
Yeah.
She has got your number.
I haven't. No, can I have a number?
You should have had, because I know you've been complaining about there's been issues with regards to property, so you've been speaking to Jessica.
Property's ready to fall down.
Well, no, I wouldn't go that far.
There's been a major leak. Again, they didn't want to pay for that. Fence blew down. I got messages saying that they didn't want to pay for that.
Let me give you this number.
Yeah.
Okay. But is it? Do you want to talk about the rent arrears side of things or not? No, you're not going to pay any rent.
That's not what I said.
Okay. So maybe when you pick the stuff up, you can come to a payment plan with Dennis. No.
Dennis's tenant is reluctantly preparing to leave. But there's a problem.
Hi, madam. You're taking the dog, aren't you?
Huh?
You're taking the dog.
Not straight away, no.
You can't leave the dog here.
It'll be in the garden. I have to come back for him.
But no one's going to be here, are they? You can't leave the dog in the house. You can't leave the dog alone in the garden. You have to take it.
No, I can take it.
Do you want to talk about the rent arrears side of things or not?
In Milton Keynes, Dennis Yao is evicting his tenant, Gemma Patey.
You have 7 days to collect your goods.
Yeah.
Gemma moved into the 3-bed property 4 months ago, but has never paid a penny in rent, nor did she pay her deposit.
So when you will pay the rent?
I'll talk to you when I come and get my stuff.
Sorry?
I'll talk to you when I come to get my stuff.
More importantly, at this moment in time, you've got to take the dog with you. You can't leave the dog here.
Okay, I don't know where I'm
Well, it's your dog, you know. Just take him with you, at least he's with you. You know, because the property is going to be secured. You won't be allowed back in it until you can make contact with Dennis so you can come and pick the rest of the stuff up. I know this is distressing, as it is, but I don't think leaving the dog here by itself will help. I own a dog. I wouldn't want to be parted from my dog and leave the dog. I think she was a bit delusional that you could just leave the dog and we just move on. All right?
Okay.
You've got the dog.
I think the kids have.
Have the kids got the dog? Just double check. Okay.
Dennis's ex-tenant now has 7 days to pick up the rest of her belongings.
Lovely. Right, okay.
Thank you so much.
Well done, Scott.
I'll speak to you soon. Yeah, okay.
Take care. Thanks for your help, Scott.
Now their tenant has gone, Dennis's wife Jessica arrives to check the state of the property.
Nice to meet you. You okay? Good timing. She's just left.
Okay.
You have your property back.
Despite not paying the couple any rent, their tenant constantly complained about the state of the home.
Her words were, the property is falling down. Right, does this property look like it's falling down? No.
No.
It's just a nonsense. It's just an excuse, isn't it? Let's go in here.
And keep complaining.
Yeah, it's complaining about things so that you can get out of trying to pay the rent. I mean, I think that was the angle that she was trying to use, yeah?
It was Jessica who originally allowed the evicted tenant to move in, after she was sent a doctored screen grab supposedly showing that the deposit had been paid.
I feel quite sorry, because I trust someone so easily. Just I feel totally betrayed. Yeah. Didn't think a mom of 3 will do something like this. Yeah, just really depressed, really. Both me and him feel depressed whenever we think about this. Yeah.
Having lost nearly £4,000, this has been a very costly mistake for the couple.
It's okay. It's fine. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Her free riding created a nightmare for us, and it's horrible.
It's quite difficult for us for the last few months. Yeah.
The evicted tenant, Gemma, promised Dennis that the £4,000 she owes would be paid. But 2 months on from the eviction, the couple still haven't received a penny. Ten years ago, Nishat Hussein's tenant stopped paying the rent, racking up an astonishing £89,000 in arrears. The case is unusual. Nishat and her husband bought the house from a man called Mr. Saunders 11 years ago, and then he became their tenant.
It's a shame it's come to this, but we have been chasing him. Shouldn't be like that.
Mr. Saunders ignored a court order to leave, so today he's due to be evicted by the bailiffs.
It wasn't a nice feeling that you're getting another human being out, evicting them. Where was he going to go? Had he prepared himself? Because he was in denial all this time.
This is it.
This is it.
And he's going to be there. I'll be very surprised if he isn't.
Okay.
The Husseins aren't from the area, so they've been seeking assistance from local estate agent Mike James.
Hi Imran, good morning, how are you, sir?
I'm well, how are you?
Yes, very well.
It looks like their tenant is still in the property. With bad blood on both sides, the landlords are advised to wait round the corner out of sight while he's evicted.
At the end of the day, you've got a bailiff who knows what he's doing. He'll sort out whatever occurs there this morning.
All right, well, we'll just wait here then.
Yeah, and then I'll give you a call as soon as we're ready.
Yeah.
The heart was going. It was going.
Okay, well, they're gone. Let's just hope, just goes smoothly. I wonder what's happening.
That's Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Hiya. Just wanted to update where you are.
Yeah. And the bailiffs are there? Oh, they're inside? Right. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. He is there. We suspected that.
In his head, yes, he did think that was his house. He was not going to leave voluntarily. He would have to be evicted.
Hello. Yes.
The bailiffs have left. The house is empty, sir. He's left.
Okay. Thanks. Bye. This is it.
After 10 years of not paying any rent, their tenant has finally gone. This will be the first time the Husseins have set foot in their property since buying it 11 years ago.
I've just gone round and opened up the downstairs windows because there is quite a bit of damp, unfortunately.
Knowing the tenant and how he loved the property, I wasn't expecting what I saw when I walked inside.
Why has he had to rip the ceiling out?
I reckon the leak has been fixed.
Right, okay.
But obviously all this will need to be pulled out and redone.
You're in the top of the box, mate.
And I reckon by the looks of what's probably happened,
yeah,
because there's no carpet and stuff as well,
yeah,
it's flooded the hallway.
Yeah, it's actually gone through the other side.
And it's soaked up there. It's soaked up all underneath the stairwell as well.
Okay.
There, look.
The floor's lifted up.
I'd say that's probably from the moisture of the wood expanding.
Yeah, it's bowed, hasn't it?
And there's another section over there as well.
Yeah. It's a real shame.
It appears that it's not just the rent that the tenant hasn't been paying.
We don't need to cut the water off.
Why?
Yeah, they've cut him off.
They've cut him off?
Yeah. He's using a bucket for a toilet in there.
What? Oh, there's no cistern. So he couldn't flush the toilet, so he's been using the bucket.
We quickly realised that this guy was having a hard time. He was cooking just on a camping stove. Felt very sad.
Upstairs, there's a further unwelcome surprise.
Oh Christ, look at that roof.
As landlords, the Husseins are responsible for maintenance, but the tenant didn't tell them about the leaky roof and instead attempted a DIY fix himself.
The top of the roof hasn't gone into disrepair, the outside, which has then let the water in and caused the damp.
The Husseins bought this house as an investment, but now they face big renovation costs on top of the £89,000 they are still owed in rent.
We won't see the money. We won't.
We're just going to have to live with that loss. We'll obviously try and pursue him for it. At least we have possession of the property. At least we can now, you know, start thinking about putting things right in the property and then moving on.
Unfortunately, this experience has shaken my trust in people. Sad, but that's how it is.
Many landlords carry out detailed background checks when finding someone to live in their home. But that's not always possible, as Ryan Wood found out to his cost when renting out his two-bed Essex flat to a tenant called Greg.
I've had the property probably 10, 12 years. What happened with Greg was there was a previous tenant. I understood him to be staying with him. And Greg used to come in and pay the rent. And the other tenant left, leaving Greg in there. And it then put us in a bit of an awkward position because Greg was already in there. But he came in, paid the rent. It was always quite pleasant. And we didn't have a problem with him. So we ultimately issued him a tenancy agreement.
A year after Greg took over the tenancy, he suddenly stopped paying the rent.
His circumstances changed. He was so far behind, I said to him, Greg, the problem is the property is too much for you. You're living in a two-bedroom flat, you don't need it, you know, you can't afford it. And he wasn't entitled to enough benefit to pay for it. I was trying to source him another place, like a smaller place that his benefits would cover.
But Ryan's attempts to help were met with a wall of silence.
He stopped answering my phone calls. And I think what he did was he blocked my number, which is, I didn't know you could do that, one of my lads told me. So he left me with no choice, but I had to go to the eviction route.
Greg is due to be evicted today, but there's been a last-minute legal glitch, so lawyer Chris Sharp from the landlord group is heading to court.
We're on our way over to Southend County Court. Ryan's tenant, despite having a possession order made against him, despite owing Ryan thousands of pounds in rent arrears, the bailiff is due to go around in about 3 hours' time, and the tenant has decided to make an application to suspend the warrant at this late stage.
It's not the first time Chris has come across this tenant.
Interestingly, this guy, we've evicted him before, and he was responsible for leaving a house in one of the worst conditions I've ever seen. And here he is again.
I was actually told by the estate agent there is 1% that trash a place this badly when they leave, and this is the 1%. Honestly, it's beyond disgusting.
Chris and Ryan arrive at court.
Morning, Ryan, how you doing?
Chris, how are you, mate?
Good to see you.
And you, mate. Nice
Good to see you, yeah. So, he owes you £3
He does.
and he's made an application.
Last minute application.
If we get our way today, then that is it, last chance saloon. We'll get over to the property, meet up with the bailiffs and get him out. If he wins, what it means is today he'll get more time and we'll have to revisit this.
As a lawyer, I shouldn't get personally involved. It's professional. But I had dealt with this guy before. I'm not going to kid anybody on. I wanted him out.
Chris and landlord Ryan head into court. And so does the tenant, Greg.
He knew of this bailiff eviction many, many weeks earlier. Why didn't he apply then? This guy knew what he was doing.
Ryan is already nearly £3,000 down. If the judge sides with the tenant today, he'll lose more time and more money.
Very good result. The judge basically dismissed his application, so the bailiff eviction is going ahead.
When he sauntered off out of the courthouse, it didn't feel great for me. It's quite sad. Some people live terrible lives.
After their victory in court, Chris and Ryan head to the flat. They can't enter until the bailiffs arrive and officially evict Greg.
I don't think they're keen gardeners, are they?
He was going to look after it.
Yeah. You probably noticed from my reaction that I'm not that surprised at what I'm seeing. The garden was full of crap. There was cat feces everywhere. I knew this tenant, and I was worried.
I'm expecting it to be a mess.
Hi.
Morning, gentlemen.
How you doing?
Good. Would you like to come up to the front?
The bailiffs are here. Ryan is about to find out whether Greg will resist the eviction and what state his flat has been left in. After a 6-month battle, bailiffs are evicting landlord Ryan Wood's tenant.
If they're not in, it is very good news. All clear.
Yeah, there's 2 cats in there. Keys.
Cheers, thank you.
Got your locksmith.
Right, I'll do the honours. Oh, it stinks. Oh, it reeks.
I've been doing this job now many years, and I'm still staggered at some of the conditions I find properties. I really am.
Oh, there's a little cat on the table and on the bed.
Unbeknown to Ryan, 6 cats have been living in his 2-bed flat. And unlike their owner, they're still in residence.
It's not even comfortable just standing here, is it? It's that disgraceful. You feel that you're going to catch something, don't you, just by being here. Don't even want to open the fridge.
I was expecting it to be a mess. I knew it was messy, but I'd never seen anything like it. You can't once the water's into the chipboard,
yeah,
it's ruined.
Blown, isn't it?
I was encouraging him to change his lifestyle, to clean his act up. We bought him lampshades, and he couldn't believe, said, I've never had a landlord like it. Now, I would have worked with him and helped him, but in the end, he buried his head.
That's awful, isn't it?
It's disgusting. It's not very nice. It's pretty...
Nearly £3,000 down in rent, Ryan now also faces the cost of fitting a new kitchen and bathroom before he can let the flat back out.
Hey, look in here. Looks like it's been burgled.
It's not good, is it? So it's just a mess. Who'd want to live like it?
Now the smell and the heat in here. He's not paying his bills, he's not paying his rent, and he's left the heating on for us. It's very kind of him. Oh, there's a gun down there. Well, that's just a BB gun. It was just left there. You don't expect that. And it's bewildering.
If the tenant doesn't return to collect his belongings, Ryan will also be left with the cost of removing them.
He just simply wasn't in a position to leave. He really didn't believe for a second he was going today.
It is a liberty, leaving it like this to someone else to clean.
The eviction is over, but for landlord Ryan, now the real work begins. He's got to get his property ready for a new tenant as he tries to recoup his losses.
You can't dwell on it, you end up giving yourself an ulcer. So you've just got to just take it on the chin. Hopefully we'll get a nice tenant, maybe a family, and they'll respect the place, look after it, and I will look after them.
Greg subsequently came back to the flat to collect the 6 cats, but he left all his possessions for his former landlord to deal with. Next time.
You haven't paid me the last 3 months.
A landlord confronts his letting agent over missing rent.
You're not getting your property back. You're not getting nothing back.
Oh, is that right? Really?
Yeah.
A desperate mum and her young children are stuck in a dangerous rented flat.
I'm freaking out. I'm terrified.
And on a dawn raid,
How many living in here?
housing enforcement officers make a shocking discovery.
The pantry is being used as a bedroom. The entrance hall is being used as a bedroom. Absolutely dreadful.